Welcome to the Global WarWatch Network.
Imagine a world where hypersonic missiles render traditional defenses obsolete. That's the terrifying reality Europe faces. But they're not backing down. This video uncovers their bold strategy to build a groundbreaking defense shield. Will this be the ultimate solution to the hypersonic arms race, or just an expensive pipe dream? That's the critical question we're here to explore today. We've meticulously combed through a stack of sources covering everything from cutting-edge AI to new laser weapons, all focused on how nations are trying to stay one step ahead of these incredible paradigm-shifting threats. All right, let's jump right in. When I first encountered the capabilities of hypersonic missiles in our research, it genuinely gave me pause. It feels like something straight out of science fiction, yet it's a very real and present danger. What is it about these weapons that has military strategists around the world scrambling for solutions? Why are they considered such a fundamental game changer?
You've really hit on the core issue there. The real game changer isn't just their incredible speed, that's part of it, but it's the combination of that extreme velocity with unprecedented maneuverability.
Maneuverability. So they don't just fly in a straight line.
Exactly. These aren't just fast rockets. They're capable of flying at speeds exceeding Mach 5. That's 5 times the speed of sound. And, crucially, they can change their trajectory mid-flight.
Wow.
Imagine trying to hit a bullet with another bullet, right? But the first bullet can suddenly decide to swerve and dodge.
That makes it incredibly difficult.
It does. Our traditional defense systems, they were built mostly to track predictable ballistic arcs. They're struggling to keep up with this. It fundamentally shrinks decision-making windows for defenders, often down to mere minutes. That creates immense pressure and, well, it truly reshapes global defense strategies.
So it's not just about raw speed. It's that ability to weave and dodge, almost like a ghost in the sky. It really makes you wonder if our traditional ideas of defense are even relevant anymore.
Can you give us some concrete examples? Are these systems already out there or are still mostly experimental?
Oh, they're moving beyond the theoretical. Absolutely. One prominent example from the U.S. is the Air Force's AGM-183A air-launched rapid response weapon. You might see it called ARRW.
The ARRW, okay.
Developed by Lockheed Martin, this system uses what's called a boost glide mechanism. It's launched from an aircraft like a B-52.
Right.
It rapidly accelerates to over Mach 5 using a rocket booster, and then a hypersonic glide vehicle separates. This vehicle maneuvers at extreme speeds toward its target.
And its purpose?
It's designed specifically for high-value targets and also time-sensitive ones. There's been significant testing, including a key trial from a B-52H Stratofortress back in December 2022. And extensive testing really kicked off around November 2024.
Okay, so the U.S. has this capability, but it's certainly not just the U.S. working on this technology, is it? No, not at all. That's correct. We also see Iran, for instance. They unveiled their Fatah hypersonic missile in June 2023.
Fatah. And what are its specs like?
Well, the reports say it has a range of about 1,400 kilometers and quite astounding speeds, somewhere between Mach 13 and Mach 15.
Mach 13 to 15.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is. It's solid fuel, and it's specifically crafted for exceptional maneuverability. The idea is to evade even the most advanced defense systems out there. And there's already an upgraded version, the Fatah 2, which was introduced in November 2023.
And has it actually been used?
That's what truly highlights its strategic importance. The original Fatah was apparently operationally deployed in October 2024 during what Iran called Operation True Promise 2. Reports suggest around 180 missiles were launched towards Israel.
Wow, so this isn't just a theoretical threat or a prototype anymore.
Precisely. These are active elements shaping contemporary conflicts and, strategic calculations right now.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it? This isn't some far-off future threat. It's very much here, actively influencing geopolitics. So given their speed and that incredible maneuverability you mentioned, how on earth do you even begin to counter something like that? It sounds almost impossible to predict where they're going. Isn't prediction the first step to any defense?
You've hit on a critical point. Accurately predicting their trajectories is, well, absolutely paramount if you want to develop effective countermeasures. You can't hit what you can't track, right?
Exactly.
And this is where some really cutting-edge research comes into play. There's work being done on a novel hybrid deep learning approach. AI, essentially.
Right. AI prediction. Okay.
Yes, and it integrates several quite sophisticated AI architectures: convolutional neural networks, CNNs, long short-term memory networks, LSTMs, and gated recurrent units, or GRUs.
Right, CNNs, LSTMs, GRUs. That sounds very technical. For those of us not deep in AI research, can you break down what each of those actually does? How does this fancy AI actually track a missile that's constantly changing course?
Okay, let's try to simplify it. Think of the CNN part like a really sharp-eyed observer. It's looking at the flight data and instantly spotting spatial patterns, things like a sudden swerve or an abrupt change in altitude. Quick, tricky moves.
So it sees the immediate changes.
Exactly. Then the LSTMs act like the system's memory, a very robust memory. They track the missile's entire journey, remembering its speed and altitude changes over time. They capture those long-term relationships to help predict its likely next move based on its history.
Okay, memory is key. And the GRUs.
GRUs are a bit like LSTMs, but they have a slightly simpler architecture. They also handle those long-term dependencies, but are often more efficient, which is crucial when you're dealing with massive amounts of data in real time.
Got it. Observer, memory, efficient memory.
Pretty much. By combining these, the model gets really good at predicting these incredibly complex nonlinear trajectories, even when there are unpredictable disturbances. And for extra accuracy, each positional dimension, the x, y, and z coordinates, is actually modeled independently.
That makes a lot more sense. So it's about seeing the immediate, remembering the history, and doing it efficiently. But the big question, does this sophisticated system actually work? What kind of accuracy are we really talking about here? Because even a tiny error at Mach 15 could mean missing it entirely, right?
You're absolutely right to ask about the practical results, and the results reported are genuinely impressive. This CNN LSTM GRU hybrid achieved what they call a root mean squared error, or RMSE, of 3330.46.
Okay. Is that good?
Well, let's look at the percentage error. That might be clearer. The mean absolute percentage error, MAPE, was just 1.83%.
1.83%. For something moving that fast and erratically.
Exactly. For a missile hurtling along at potentially Mach 15, changing course unpredictably, that 1.83% error rate is incredibly low. Think about predicting precisely where a fly will buzz across a large room. It's getting close to that level of certainty.
That's remarkable.
It really is. This isn't just about slightly better prediction. It's potentially shifting the impossible into the realm of the manageable. It could give defense systems precious extra seconds to react, and those seconds can mean the difference between interception and impact.
That's a powerful capability shift. Okay, so we have this terrifying threat, and now we have the potential to predict it with advanced AI.
Mm.
What is Europe as a collective planning to do about actually stopping these missiles once they're detected? How do they turn prediction into defense?
Right. This is where Europe's ambition really starts to take shape, especially in response to the escalating threats we've seen, highlighted by the conflict in Ukraine. Germany is spearheading two major initiatives here.
Two initiatives.
Yes. The European Sky Shield Initiative, or ESSI, and something called the NATO drone wall. Both are pretty central to Europe's evolving security posture.
Let's tackle the Sky Shield first. What exactly is the ESI, and who's involved in it?
Okay, ESI. It's envisioned as a ground-based, integrated European air defense system. Importantly, it includes anti-ballistic missile capabilities.
Integrated, so multiple countries working together.
Yes, very much so. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz proposed it back in August 2022. The core idea is to bolster European air and missile defense through the joint acquisition of equipment, pooling resources, essentially.
And how many countries are on board?
As of 2025, an impressive 24 European states are participating. That makes it one of NATO's most comprehensive collective defense projects. It's a pretty clear statement about wanting a unified European response.
24 states. That's significant buy-in. What systems are they actually planning to integrate into this? You mentioned multi-layered. How does that work?
It is multi-layered, aiming to handle threats at different ranges. For the very long-range interception, particularly against ballistic missiles high up, it incorporates Israel Aerospace Industries' Arrow 3 system.
Arrow 3 from Israel. Okay.
For medium-range threats, they're using the U.S. Raytheon Patriot missiles. That's a system with a long track record, obviously.
A known quantity.
Right. And then for short-range targets, things like cruise missiles or large drones, perhaps, they fall under the German-made Diehl IRIS-T system.
So Israeli, American, and German tech.
Exactly. This mix reflects, I think, both the urgent need for immediate proven capabilities right now and perhaps the current limitations in having purely European defense technology available for all those ranges immediately.
It sounds like a pragmatic approach, grabbing the best available tools for the job, given the urgency. But I imagine an ambitious multinational project like this isn't without its challenges, is it? What kind of hurdles is ESF facing?
You're right, there are definitely challenges. France, for one, has notably resisted joining ESI so far.
Why is that?
Their concerns seem to center on what they see as an excessive reliance on non-European equipment. particularly the Israeli Arrow 3 and the American Patriot. They also point to the exclusion of the French-Italian SAM-PT system, which they argue is a capable European alternative for medium-range defense.
Ah, so it touches on that ongoing debate about European strategic autonomy versus relying on partners like the US or Israel.
Precisely. It highlights that broader political tension. And then there's funding, of course. Integrating and maintaining such a vast, complex system across 24 states. Well, it's going to severely test European defense budgets and their collective commitment over the long term. It's a very delicate balancing act.
Balancing national interests, industrial concerns, and shared security needs.
Okay. Given those political and financial hurdles for conventional missile defense and the fact that threats are always evolving, is Europe also looking beyond just missiles? Are things like laser weapons moving from sci-fi into reality?
Indeed, that's exactly where a lot of next-generation effort is focused. And what's really compelling is that European nations are making significant strides in laser-directed energy weapons, or LDUWs.
LDWs.
Yes, they're being prioritized for several key reasons. One is their potential cost-effectiveness per shot, which is huge. Another is operational flexibility. And they're seen as complementing, not necessarily replacing entirely, traditional kinetic weapons like missiles.
Complementing, okay. And is there a timeline? The ambitious goal is to have operational deployment around 2030.
2030, that's not far off. Tell us about some specific projects, and how exactly does a laser become cost-effective? That seems counterintuitive for such high-tech gear.
Well, let's look at a project called Talos 2. It's funded by the European Defense Fund with a pretty substantial 25 million SACDU budget. It involves 21 partners across 8 EU nations.
A big collaboration.
It is. They're developing 100 kilowatt class laser weapons that's quite powerful for air, ground, and maritime platforms. They're focusing on specific laser wavelengths and advanced beam control to make it effective. The goal is TRL-8, Technology Readiness Level 8, by 2030. That means it's basically proven and almost ready for full deployment.
Okay, Telos 2. Any others?
Yes, industry leaders like Rheinmetall and MBDA are also collaborating, particularly on ship-based lasers. They actually conducted over 100 successful test shots aboard German Navy's frigate Saxon in 2024.
Successful test on a ship already. And the cost.
This is where it gets really interesting. Rheinmetall estimates the cost per laser shot at approximately 12
€12 per shot.
12 euros. Now compare that to potentially millions of euros for a single traditional missile interceptor.
That's a staggering difference.
It absolutely is. And that difference makes LDEWs incredibly attractive, especially for countering high-volume threats. Think about swarms of cheap drones. You could quickly bankrupt yourself trying to shoot them all down with million-euro missiles. Lasers offer a potential solution. Thales Group is also in this space, developing compact laser systems for things like urban defense and naval platforms.
€12 versus millions. That's an undeniable advantage for certain scenarios. But surely there are downsides, right? It can't be that simple.
What about things like power requirements or weather affecting the beam or range limitations?
You're absolutely right to bring that up. It's not a magic bullet.
Yeah.
While the cost per shot is low, the initial investment in the high-energy power systems needed to run these lasers is substantial. Generating that much power, especially on mobile platforms, is a challenge.
And the beam itself. Yes, atmospheric conditions are a factor. Fog, rain, dust, even just heat haze or turbulence can scatter or absorb the laser energy, degrading its effectiveness and range. Lasers also lose intensity over distance, naturally, so they're generally better suited for shorter to medium-range engagements compared to, say, long-range interceptor missiles.
Okay, so they're not replacing missiles entirely.
No, definitely not in the near term. The thinking is that they complement existing systems. They handle the high-volume, closer-in threats like drone swarms very cost-effectively, maybe even some types of missiles at certain ranges, while the expensive kinetic missiles are saved for the more challenging, longer-range strategic threats.
That clarifies their role nicely. So looking ahead to 2030, how do you see these high-energy lasers fitting into Europe's overall defense picture? What does it mean for the balance of power and maybe Europe's technological independence?
By 2030, the expectation is that high-energy lasers will be a significant, integrated part of the defense toolkit across land, sea, and air. They'll provide those critically cost-effective solutions for the high-volume aerial threats, freeing up the high-end missile interceptors for their specific roles. And crucially, by investing heavily in developing these LDDU technologies within Europe, like with Talos 2, the goal is also to enhance Europe's technological independence. building sovereign capabilities, reducing reliance on external supply chains, and strengthening the European defense industrial base. It's all part of a move towards a more resilient and versatile defense posture.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, alongside the Sky Shield missile defense system, you also mentioned Germany is leading something called the drone wall. That name itself sounds incredibly ambitious, almost futuristic. What exactly is this drone wall?
It really is a project of immense scale, running parallel to ESSI but addressing a different kind of threat. Germany is spearheading the construction, or maybe coordination is a better word, of this continuous network of unmanned aerial systems, drones, all along NATO's eastern border.
A continuous network. How long are we talking?
The vision is for it to stretch approximately 1,850 miles. That's from Norway in the north all the way down to Poland in the south.
1,850 miles,
Yeah.
covered by drones and sensors. That's an extraordinary undertaking. What's the primary driver behind this? What specific threats is it designed to counter?
It's largely a direct response to Russia's increased use of unconventional tactics along that border. Things like drone incursions, both for surveillance and potentially attack, and also sophisticated electronic warfare like GPS jamming, which has become a significant concern for the Baltic states and Poland especially.
Right, those low-level persistent threats.
Exactly. Lithuania's interior minister described it quite vividly as a completely new thing, a drone wall to protect our borders. The core goal is to detect and potentially disrupt these kinds of threats in real time, giving NATO much faster, more accurate intelligence, and creating a proactive defensive screen against those persistent, maybe ambiguous incursions that could escalate.
So it's about persistent surveillance and early warning, maybe even counter-drone actions. How is this massive drone wall actually being built? What kind of technology? And crucially, what kind of coordination does it require across all those countries?
It's envisioned as a highly layered system. It's not just one type of drone. It'll likely integrate AI-powered reconnaissance drones flying regular patrols for that continuous surveillance.
AI playing a role again.
Yes. Plus, ground-based sensors for more localized detection, maybe acoustic or radar sensors. Then, mobile counter-drone platforms that can be moved to intercept threats. And layered over all of that would be sophisticated satellite surveillance providing the bigger picture.
A system of systems?
Precisely. Germany is leading the project coordination, but it relies heavily on the backing and participation of the 6 key NATO countries along that eastern flank: Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, Poland, and Norway. Each country contributes. Poland, for instance, has already begun construction under its National Shield East program, planning some 700 kilometers of surveillance infrastructure along its border as part of this broader effort. It's very much a collaborative, high-tech initiative.
Okay. So when you step back and look at everything we've discussed today, we've got the terrifying reality of hypersonic missiles, the potential game changer of AI prediction, Europe's ambitious multi-layered sky shield, the emergence of cost-effective laser weapons, and now this innovative continent-spanning drone wall. What's the bigger picture here? What's the cohesive story emerging from all these individual complex pieces? How are these initiatives collectively redefining Europe's approach to security in this, well, clearly very challenging new era?
I think what clearly stands out when you connect all these dots is that these initiatives collectively represent Europe's most ambitious and technologically advanced attempt to build a comprehensive defense architecture probably since the Cold War ended.
A major shift, then.
A major shift. They reflect, I believe, a fundamental move towards greater strategic autonomy, or at least the pursuit of it. There's a clear resolve to bolster a stronger European pillar within the NATO alliance. And fundamentally, it's a recognition that the threat landscape itself has profoundly changed. It's no longer just about reacting. It's about anticipating threats and proactively building these multidimensional, technologically advanced defenses.
It's certainly evident that the global security landscape is changing at an incredible pace, demanding innovation and collective action on a scale we haven't seen in decades.
Which really brings us to the critical, maybe unsettling overarching question, doesn't it? Will this combination, advanced AI prediction, multi-layered missile defense like ESSI, cutting-edge directed energy weapons, the drone wall, will it all truly redefine deterrence and create a more secure future? Or does the rapid, relentless evolution of offensive capabilities, like those hypersonic missiles we started with, mean that defense will always be playing catch-up in this incredibly high-stakes, technologically driven arms race? That's the question that will likely define global security for the foreseeable future.
Thank you for your time and participation. Please like, share, and subscribe to Global WarWatch Network. Share your thoughts in the comments section and join us on social media. The links are provided in the description.